and welcome to the Garage Workshop. In this week's video I will be reviewing the Lumberjack PT254 thicknesser planer, and there it is. At the time of this review the PT254 was £389 on Amazon and was one of the few thicknesser planers still available in the UK due to the lockdown. The two other models I considered before buying the Lumberjack were the XL254 and the Zipper HB254, both of which were 10-inch thicknesser planers. You can purchase the XL through Amazon and the Zipper through Toolstation. I'll leave links to both of these machines in the description below. When choosing which thicknesser planer to buy, I weighed up the size of material I could comfortably put through it, along with the price and of course the availability. I decided against the Zipper HB254 as it was essentially the same spec as the Lumberjack but was over £100 more expensive. The XL was my second option and is almost identical in spec to the Lumberjack, but I hadn't heard of the XL brand and had seen good reviews for Lumberjack products on YouTube. I suspect that these are made in the same factory and are rebadged anyway, as they are almost identical in every single way. The Lumberjack thicknesser was harder to research, and at the time I purchased it only had 4 reviews on Amazon, which were mixed to say the least. The XL had 8 reviews, which all seemed positive, but I just couldn't get away from the similarities between the machines. And again, I suspect they are the same product made in the same factory and they're just rebadged for each company. I had waited all through lockdown for the Titan thicknesser from Screwfix, which initially was my first choice. But after a call to their customer services, it became clear they couldn't give me a restocking date and I didn't want to wait any longer, so I went for the Lumberjack instead. The Titan is also smaller than the Lumberjack and it didn't come with a stand, which is a major consideration for such a hefty piece of equipment, and trust me, that is heavy. In this review you'll see the Lumberjack being assembled and put through its paces, as well as the things I like about it and the things I don't like about it. But I do have to give a disclaimer. I am very new to woodworking and this is the first time I've ever used a thicknesser planer. I'm sure you guys will all point out I'm using the machine incorrectly, but I was very careful and wore all the correct safety equipment. If you like this video, please hit the subscribe button and notification bell to see my future videos. You can also follow me on Instagram at GarageWorkshop21. Any comments are much appreciated as I am new to YouTube, so please take it easy on me. Enjoy the review and I'll see you in the comments, and hopefully I'll catch you in some future videos. Take care. Okay, so now we've got the machine unpacked, I'm just going to go through the pieces that are in the box. There is an updated set of instructions here that just tells you about the micro switches, and it basically says that if the machine is not correctly configured and if you haven't got the micro switches in the correct place and that's seated the dust hood correctly, that the machine doesn't work. This has obviously been putting as an extra because it's in a different place to the book. We've got the actual instruction booklet, which is here. First initial look, I have to say, it's not exactly over-endowed with detail, but I'm sure it'll be fine when we actually go through it. You've obviously got the planer thicknesser itself, which is here. The other items that we've got, these are just 2 of the push handles. Actually feel quite nice and substantial quality. We've also got the push stick, traditional looking push stick, same as the one you would get with a table saw. We've obviously got the dust chute, which is here, and strangely enough the dust chute also includes the little Allen key. You might be able to see it in the bottom of the bag there. Then we've got obviously the assembly screws, so all the screws you need to put in there, the nuts and bolts, sorry, not the screws, the nuts and bolts are in there to put it together. And then we have got the described as the handle assembly. So it's just basically the handle that you put on the end. And then the last thing we've got are just the foot savers. They go on the bottom of the feet of the planer thicknesser. And the legs are actually contained inside the middle of the planer thickness. So what we'll do now is take off all the wrapping so you can see all of the parts all together before we assemble it. Okay, so as you can see, we've got all the pieces laid out on top of the bench now. Inside the planer were two packets. This packet has got the legs in it, and this packet has got the cross braces for the stand that it goes on. Both packs really substantial, so hopefully it'll be nice and sturdy when it's built. Also inside, you can see, is the fence. So our next challenge, or the next challenge, is to get the fence out. So we'll just do that by lowering the bed. Just one thing I want to point out, on the top, considering this has only come out of the box and had the plastic removed before you see it here, there are quite a lot of scratches and a couple of gouges on top of the actual bed. So I'm presuming that was done in manufacture. I'm not sure because the box was perfectly intact. But just a couple of gouges. Not going to put me off, but just a bit of a shame there's some scratches and gouges on it. Right, let's get the fence out the centre of the planer. So very simple to get the fence out of the middle of the planer. All you need to do is to get the handle and attach the handle to the planer. It'll only fit in one way. There's a little flat bit and it slides in, so the nut is not completely round. So to lower it, you literally just turn the handle, you turn it anti-clockwise, it lowers the bed. Now I can see straight away there's a lot of play in that handle there, so those two nuts and those two screws will need to be tightened up. You can see the handle's moving around quite a lot. It should be low enough now that we can get the fence out. And there's the fence. Remove the cardboard. And there's the fence that will sit presumably over on that gap there. So now we've done that, let's put the legs together. Okay, so I have managed to get the feet on, which to be honest was a bit of a struggle. The rubber bits on the end were really tightly moulded. It was a bit of a push to get them on. I'm now left with these corresponding pieces, which I can work out because it's obvious from the picture on the box and obviously from the size where they are, but just want to show you the instruction book here. As you can see from this picture, the shapes of the legs and the cross members do not match in any way the shape of the pieces that we've got. On the picture, these have got curves in them, and the bit down the bottom has got a groove in it. Well, these do not have curves on them, nor do these. And these pieces at the bottom do not have any grooves in them at all. And on the box, on the picture on the box on the side of the planer, it also shows that it has a groove on it. But a process of elimination, it's quite obvious that these pieces are the end pieces, and I'm presuming, due to the size of that these are the other cross members that go with it. So we'll have a go with joining this first stage using the bolts that are in there. I think they're M60 bolts, I think, by the look of it. So let's have a go at that now. One of the things that's not clear from the manual is the four legs that you can see here have got bolts, and yet in the pack there are four bolts which are exactly the same size. And from the instructions, which again I said are a little bit unclear, it doesn't show you. It shows you how you have to do the bolts up. What it doesn't tell you is the bolts are already there on the legs. So the first thing you need to do is undo all of the bolts to actually take off the foot of the thicknesser. Okay, so now it's done. Had a little bit of a problem with one of the bolts there at the end, but you can see it's all nicely put together. Have to say it weighs an absolute ton, which obviously you want it to. Well, that's all for part one. Come back and join us in part two, where we'll be putting the Lumberjack thicknesser through its paces. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, please click subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care. Happy woodworking.